Look at the headlines today, and you'll see a steady stream of celebrities, like Bella Hadid, sharing a very public health struggle. It's created a massive wave of cultural confusion, with conflicting information flooding the internet about what Lyme disease actually is, how you get it, and who is at risk. To understand what's really happening, we have to go back to the 1970s, to a small, heavily wooded town called Lyme, Connecticut.
A long time ago, in a small town in Connecticut,
Two mothers there noticed an incredibly specific anomaly. Dozens of local children were suddenly ending up in wheelchairs, suffering from severe swollen joints and juvenile arthritis. Local doctors dismissed the mothers, telling them it was all in their heads. But the women refused to accept the hypochondria label. They started knocking on doors, calling neighbors, and plotting the cases on a map themselves, forcing health officials to finally launch a real epidemiological investigation. This localized outbreak of paralysis signaled the arrival of a hidden epidemic that the medical establishment was entirely unprepared to fight. The first real physical evidence was this: a distinctive, expanding red ring on a patient's skin, known as an erythema migrans rash. Right in the center of that target, doctors found a microscopic dot. That dot was a black-legged tick, which can be seen here up close. When scientist Willy Burgdorferi dissected these ticks, he discovered a specific spiral-shaped bacteria living inside their guts, an organism now known as Borrelia burgdorferi. This bacteria is incredibly old. We know this because scientists found its DNA perfectly preserved inside the remains of Ötzi the Iceman, a mummified human who died over 5,000 years ago. Identifying the bacteria turned out to be the easy part. The real problem is that over millions of years, this pathogen has perfected a set of biological defenses that are almost impossible to beat, sparking a medical war that continues today. Watch how these spiral-shaped bacteria move. To infect you, they first have to wake up inside a feeding tick's stomach, detach, and swim all the way to its salivary glands. That journey takes time, which means a tick usually needs to be attached to your skin for 16 to 24 hours to successfully transmit the infection. Once inside your bloodstream, the bacteria uses its first trick. Normal bacteria are coated in a substance called lipopolysaccharide, which naturally trips your immune system's alarm. Borrelia lacks this coating entirely, allowing it to slip right past patrolling immune cells undetected. By the time your body finally spots the invader and sends out targeted antibodies, the bacteria pulls a wardrobe change. It dynamically alters the proteins on its outer surface, making the antibodies you just produced completely useless. It even drops physical decoys. The bacteria sheds tiny bubbles, called blebs, that contain fragments of its own DNA. Your immune cells waste their energy chasing down and attacking these harmless bubbles, while the real pathogen escapes. If the environment gets too hostile, it employs a final survival strategy. It can burrow directly inside your own cells to hide, or coil itself up into a dormant, impenetrable cyst until the threat passes. These combined tactics allow the bacteria to move through the body virtually unseen, effectively blindfolding the human immune system. Because of this extreme stealth, your body is incredibly slow to realize it's under attack. It usually takes 4 to 6 full weeks before your immune system mounts a measurable response. This creates a massive problem for doctors. Standard accredited lab tests cannot actually detect the elusive bacteria itself. They are only designed to detect the antibodies your immune system produces to fight it. So if you get bitten and go to a clinic a week later feeling sick, the test will almost certainly come back as a false negative. The bacteria is already in your system, but your antibodies aren't yet. Patients end up feeling terribly ill while their lab work says they are healthy. That specific diagnostic blind spot is exactly what gave rise to the Lyme Wars. If caught early, a simple 10 to 28-day course of antibiotics easily wipes out the infection. But for roughly 10 to 20, then they prescribe incredibly expensive, high-risk treatments, ranging from months of unnecessary IV antibiotics to unproven ozone therapies. The pain these patients feel is real, and they deserve help. But relying on fake diagnostics drains their bank accounts, and worse, prevents doctors from finding the actual treatable conditions that might be causing their symptoms. Since the pathogen is so elusive and the testing is so fraught, your best defense is physically blocking the vector. If you are walking in wooded areas, wear long sleeves, long pants, and physically tuck your pant legs into your socks. When you get home, check yourself and your pets thoroughly. Look for that classic bullseye mark, any mild red patches, or even painless lumps that sometimes appear on earlobes and the chest. If you do find a tick, pull it out immediately with tweezers. Forget the old myth that squeezing a tick causes it to vomit bacteria into your bloodstream. Ticks are remarkably tough. The only thing that matters is removing it fast to stop that 24-hour transmission clock. We are dealing with an ancient, highly evolved survivor. But understanding its biology means you don't need to panic, and you don't need to fall for internet pseudoscience. You just need to be relentlessly physically vigilant.